This episode today is we're going to talk a lot about the journey towards ultimate success. And as most of you know, this is a space that I do a lot of work in the personal development space and success space. And my guest today shares a very special success story, so we're definitely going to dive into that. And he's a returning guest, actually, to the podcast, and is a therapist, 5 times international award bestseller, probably 6 by the time we're done this show, but at least 5, at least 5 now. He's a speaker, a coach, a publisher, and to top it off, a Guinness World Record holder. I've not had a Guinness World Record holder on the show, so I can officially say you're my first. Right? So he continues to impact the lives of hundreds of thousands through an emotional tale that has provided insights on how to determine one's worth and create a life worthy of happiness and success. With his international award-winning best-selling books, including The Better Way Formula, I think that was his first book, The Better Way Formula, Principles for Success, our guest has garnered worldwide recognition in collaboration with folks like Kyle Wilson, who is 3-time World and 3-time World Series champion, Todd Stottlemyre, who you and I shared a show with, Serena Brown Travis, as well as Les Brown himself. And finally, he has studied over 52 of the top super achievers in the world in the past decades to be able to build his amazing success program. And he joins us today to share in this episode, folks, which is episode 76, the journey towards ultimate success. Robert J. Moore, welcome back to the show.
How you doing, buddy?
I am good. And here we are. We're sharing a little bit of Thanksgiving Monday, Canadian style.
Thanksgiving, gobble, gobble.
Gobble, gobble.
It's been a long time since I said that, but yeah, I know. It's exciting. I mean, I'm working a lot of hours right now, to be honest with you. But simply put, you know what I mean? Just because I'm working a lot of hours don't mean I spend time with the family. I spend a lot of time with the family. Just working about 18 hours a day, really.
That's all.
Yeah, not much.
Okay. I guess it's safe to say that when you're an entrepreneur and you've got the type of responsibilities that we do, there are days that the hours are extremely long. And, I go to bed and I see you on Messenger and I get up and you're still on Messenger. I'm like, okay, what happened in the last 6 hours? And that doesn't say much for me either because, most days I get, or nights rather, I'm between 5 and 6 hours, which, is not enough sleep.
This morning I went to bed at 4:00 this morning, or at least went to the couch at 4:00. I probably rested my eyes around 5:30 and I was up around 7.
Yeah.
But I got this big event coming up and I got a lot of things to prepare for it. So, I mean, when you got some big things happening, that's your biggest stretch that you gotta thin yourself out at that time and make sure everything's happening.
Yeah. And rest is important too, because you want to be able to think clearly. So even though you're putting in those hours, I find that when I get tired and I start to lose focus, that's a sign for me to go get some shut eye and I always find that when I get up, and especially early in the morning, whether it be 4:30, 5:30, that I'm so much, cleaner and clearer thinking. I get so much more done at that time, frankly.
Well, that's the best time for me to do things is between 5 and 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
But when I get 3-4 hours sleep, I'm ready, geared up, ready to rock and roll all day. But I mean, I got to be careful because, I mean, as you know, when I was getting the Guinness World Record, I mean, I had COVID.
Yeah.
I had COVID at that time. The residual effect from that, I guess, was GERD, which is acid reflux. I still have that. And I haven't even slept in my own bed in 3 months because of it. But I've been, I've seen the doctors. Plus, I'm sharing stages with some of the top doctors in the world coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And I get to know a lot of different people, a lot of different things, scopes down the throat, checking it out. There's nothing wrong with me. It's, what they told me? It's the way I was eating. So I was supporting the community by buying out all the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it was actually doing
affecting
more wrong to me because it was causing me to have acid reflux. So like the pizza, oh, not good.
No. Well, none of that is good. And if you want to have long-term success, your diet is definitely one of the big things that you have to look at. So
trust me, fast eating is not good.
Is not good. Absolutely. Well, so here we go. Let's dive into some of the success questions. And then there's a lot that you're going to share with us about what you're working on. But, you have an interesting journey to your success. So why don't we just take and I know most of our audience may have heard it before, but why don't you give us a Coles Notes version of your journey to where you are today, Robert?
Well, it started off with I was a drug addict, alcoholic for many years. I was in and out of jail for 16 years from all my wrongdoings. Lived on the streets for 7 years, and I don't mean living on the couches. I mean living on the street, stealing clothes out of people's laundry mats, putting them on. Didn't matter if it fit. I made it fit to keep warm. Put the snow over top of me and woke up, go to the beer store next day. But I mean, there's only so much of that you can handle.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess I got tired of doing that. I had epiphany. I went to detox and my journey began. I didn't know it was going to begin like this because a lot of times I went to detox. I was only fooling myself and only went there for a week. I'm fine. I'm good. I'm no problem. I'm ready to go. This time I actually wanted to help.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what changed about me, but there was like epiphany. And like I said, it was just, I wanted to change. I'm clean and sober 15 years now, just over in September was.
Wow.
And you know what? I'm achieving goals like there's no tomorrow. And I'm only achieving them for successful reasons for myself, not to impress other people. You know what I mean? It's like my education. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Didn't know where I wanted to go with it. So I said, you need education to work. So I went and got my grade 12. And I said, well, that was kind of neat. I kind of enjoyed the learning aspect. I finally got this. So I went and got my social service worker.
So at what age did you get your grade 12?
32. 32.
Wow.
I was
20 years later.
Yeah. I'm a little slow on the uptake, I guess.
Well, you don't look too slow from here, Robert. So,
well, I speeded that way.
Oh, trust me. And it's not how you start, my friend. It's the race is not won at the starting line, right? So, So congratulations to so that's a good first success lesson right there. 16 years in and out of jail, living on the streets for 7 years. To stealing clothes to wear and alcoholic, drug addict. And at age 32, to get his grade 12, folks, which helped to put, so what did that do for you when you achieved that grade 12 diploma or you graduated grade 12, what did that do for you? What triggered for you then?
Looking at the situation, having your grade 12 doesn't really do anything for you, to be honest.
Exactly. But it was a step, though. It was a first step for you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was something I was honored to have. But I actually, because I did it so well and I was actually focused, and it's like, I'm a go-getter. I'm the kind of guy that's a go-getter. You tell me an assignment's got to be due next month, I'm going to have it done in 4 hours. Right? I mean, it's just the kind of person I am. I have to get it out of my way. It's just kind of, I have to drill it like drill sergeant, get it done. Well, I was always helping other people in school, and I ended up winning the Lieutenant Governor's Community Volunteer Award. That was my first part of success.
Wow.
Right? And it's like, wow, I got this. I didn't even know what it was. And I also got nominated because I did like 2,500 hours of community service hours. I actually got nominated for Order of Arroyo Award. I didn't even know what that was. I didn't win that one at the time because I went against the mayor and I lost.
Of course.
It wouldn't look good if I went against the mayor. But I mean, it was a good challenge. I mean, I didn't even know what it was anyway, so it didn't matter at the time. Then I Googled it. I said, people nominated me for that. Wow, they are huge. And after realizing it.
So tell me, when you look back, right now, you've had some failures and you've now had some massive success. When you look back, now that you've had both perspectives, what does failure mean to you?
It's uneducated. Someone's uneducated on knowing how to make that situation better. I mean, you could look at a situation and do it totally differently as opposed to the way we did it. and still have a better outcome, but it would still mean the same thing at the end. You know what I mean? But you're just knowing more knowledge on how to do it.
So there's a lot of people out there who are thriving to have success in their life, and some are late, like you and yourself or me, for that matter. In some ways, I've always been successful, but I've never measured myself as ultimately successful because there's certain things that certain bars I raise that if I don't get it, it doesn't matter what I have in between. To me, it's not successful enough.
That's right. Yeah.
But you've obviously along this journey to where you are now, you've actually had some resources and help. So what resources helped you and you think can help the audience that might be in similar positions where they're late starting out with their education, they're late starting out with their success plan, they've had it tough on the streets, financially, emotionally, whatever. What resources do you think can help you that could help them?
Well, obviously I had to switch my mind onto an entrepreneurship, but in order to do that, I needed to learn me. So I continued my education and got my social service worker diploma, my dictionary degree, my BA in psychology, my master's in counseling psychology. And I didn't do that to impress anybody. I did that because I wanted to find out why I was being the person I was. So when I finally figured out that, okay, I'm doing this, this, and this, plus I debrief, right, to a counselor every few months, and I would make sure that I had the inner peace, as you will. Everybody calls it something different. So when you're looking at success, when you're looking at the stuff I did, I wanted to make sure that I was comfortable in my own skin before moving ahead. That was one of the biggest things.
Yeah. So let me ask you, this is another thing that affects and that whether people enjoy short-term or sustained long-term success. Have you had anyone along the way that inspired you, or who inspired you in the beginning while you were, making your success pathway, or who has inspired you lately?
I've studied 52 of the top achievers in the world. And what started that journey was this is hilarious, guys. Please, this is hilarious. You're going to listen to this. I was at an event and there was a guy who was dressed up kind of, to me, he looked raggedy. You know what I mean? Looked like he was there. He really needed to be there. And this might be an opportunity. Here's a guy. He smelled a little kind of like he was on the farm or something. Like he needed a shower. Let's put it that way. And I was talking to him and he didn't give me any inclination that he was somebody. Okay. This is a lesson learned on my end. So needless to say, I said, keep in touch with me. I said, here's my Facebook, add me to it. The guy added me to it. I seen the face, I seen the hat and that. Well, it happened to be the operations manager, I think, at Grow Rich. He just happened to be moving a friend that day. You know what I mean? It's like, what just happened here? You know what I mean? Like,
wow.
So it was like, whoa, he ended up becoming my coach, my first coach.
So don't be judging books by the cover or the smell.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah. So now that you've had a bit of success, how do you celebrate success? I mean, because ultimately you have to look back and reflect, okay, here's where I was 15 years ago. I know you're married with a beautiful family and, you've got a nice home and stuff. So obviously I know a little bit about you. We've met a couple of times in person.
I was actually too big for your car.
You were too big for my car. and my car is not small.
I know it's actually, yeah.
I forget which one it was, but probably wasn't.
I don't know. It was, because you just upgrade to another level or something.
I have no idea which one. But anyways, yes, he's a big guy. In case you can't tell, and and I have a relatively big car. And for some reason, it was a little tight for him. But anyways,
it was comical.
So how do you celebrate success?
See, I don't stop working, but I'll celebrate by treating the family. They put up with me working a lot of hours. Sometimes I just sleep on the couch. and I just, I mean, I don't really get cranky, I guess. I mean, but I can get a little out of sorts at times. So, I mean, I like to treat them. I mean, if it wasn't for right now, the COVID, I would have already paid for a Florida trip.
Mm-hmm.
And we go down there for like a month at Christmas time and celebrate Christmas down there. And sometimes we do it for 2 months. But what I do is when I'm down there, I still work. I still got to make up that money I just spent.
Yeah.
But I allow them to enjoy themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I allow them, like I'll spend time with them, but not as much time, like maybe not 12 hours a day, but I'll spend so much time with them. But you can see, the thing is, I fired everybody on my team 2.5 years ago because I didn't think my business was jiving as much as I wanted it to. So
Yes.
what I did was when I fired everybody, I learned all the aspects of my business. Now, I don't recommend doing that if you don't have money.
Yeah.
If you're just starting out, only if you have money to back you up for that year, right? I tell you, because it gets costly. So I hired all these different coaches, and I made sure I understood the aspects of marketing, made sure that wherever I was weak, I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to learn. So now, I mean, I've held some really big events and I filled the rooms, you know?
Because you learned a lot by yourself. And I remember actually when you were going through some of those transitions.
Yeah.
And trying to make some decisions for sure. So congrats. And I've been to one of your events. Actually, my award is on my thing there. On
the one up here, the one here.
Yes. I won one of those at one of your events. Yeah. And Serena Travis Brown was there and met a lot of great people at your event. So
you actually gave me this one here for that.
Oh, nice.
You actually gave me this on stage. It says, Outstanding Event Award for Robert J. Moore. Congratulations on being the first in Canadian history.
I remember that
the
presentation. That's right. So we know that you work a lot, but tell us if when you go to bed officially and you get up, what does the first hour, 60 to 90 minutes look like for you? Because we always hear about these rituals of the most successful people, that there is daily rituals and there are things that they do first in the day. What is that like for you at the start of your day?
The start of my day, basically, I get up and I just walk around to loosen up the blood and always have a nice big 8-ounce glass of water. The reason why I do the water is because it helps open up all your organs, right? Mm-hmm. It helps them function properly. So I make sure it's alkaline water or spring water. If you're in the right area, you don't want to go to an area like Detroit and be drinking the water out of a spring water because it might not be so spring. It might have a different kind of spring to it.
You got you.
I mean, so you want to be careful where that's coming from. But needless to say, and then I pray. I do a little prayer because I'm a man of God too, right? So I do a little prayer, and I want to make sure I give credit where credit's due. So I'm grateful to be waking up, and I get 2 feet in a heartbeat. Not only that, I'm not drinking, and I have people I'm able to talk to, because back in the day I couldn't talk to people. I was so angry.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a good ritual. Well, those are two good things. I mean, well, three anyways. Getting your body going, circulation is good, right? Water. I do that every morning as well, alkaline with lemon, and prayer. Or meditation. So those are three things that I think most successful super achievers include. Some do a lot more
of people have tried to get me to do meditation, but I end up snoring 2 seconds later. So
because you're not sleeping enough. That's why.
So I try not to.
I'd probably fall asleep too. So tell me to close my eyes, and I'm like, the only times I close my eyes is to sleep.
Hey, I wind down.
And that's intentional.
Literally. I wind down at nighttime or whatever time I go to lay on the couch. I'll put something on that's, whatever. Sometimes I don't even have an interest in what's on. It's just something in the background. Sometimes I only put my head on the back of the couch and I'm already out cold.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of that way. But that just goes to show your body needs rest, and when you're definitely tired, and your mind, your mind is working nonstop. So So Robert, what do you think? I mean, now that you've gone through, you had a first, a rough 17 years, and for the last 15 years, you've turned your life around in many respects, and I've witnessed a lot of that transition since knowing you for the last probably 3-4 years. What do you think? What have you identified to yourself that you're world class at? That you're so good at that nobody does it better than you right now?
I got a knack for helping people get out of their own self, like being stuck, no matter where they're in their business. I mean, I have a knack to upbranding the person. I'm very business orientated, and I come up with things right outside the box that, like, even Raymond Aaron. I mean, he's a New York Times bestselling author. He talks about the stuff I do. He says, Robert's an out of the box thinker. I mean, the stuff he does, he draws attention because he's always thinking outside the box, which is true. I mean, I know how to get people to that next level. I put it this way, I just got hired to promote a book, and it's in Spanish. I can't read Spanish. You know what I mean? But I will promote it to the
well, that would make two of us.
I won't be sending you the book anytime soon.
No. Well, that's good. So what do you love most about what you do?
The fact I get to see someone actually smile and understand it. Right? I mean, when I see someone else, and sometimes I don't ask for nothing in return. Right? I mean, sometimes I'll put someone on a podcast and I'll pay in my own pocket because I know that audience would do them justice. Right? That their message is warranted with that audience, that the people that person deals with or the person itself, right, would benefit from it. So when I see someone smile, that's the ultimate dream right there. It's all humanity.
No, that's awesome. So if you lost everything, and this is
I'd start right back over.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you almost, it's almost like you knew the question, but yeah, if you lost, because you've heard about all these stories about, or the saying anyways, that a true entrepreneur, if they lost everything, you could take all the money away from the most successful people, leave them with nothing. And literally in a year or less, they'd have it all back again.
You know what? I look at failure as an opportunity to grow. You know, like you look at anything negative, anything failure. A true entrepreneur will understand this. It's an opportunity to grow. You're obviously weak in an area if you're going to fail, right? So if you take everything I have today, I guarantee you within 3 months, I'll make 6 figures again. Guaranteed.
So if you were to give, a process, let's say that there were 1 or 2, let's say there were 3 things you would do, Robert, because I think I know 3 things I would do. But let's say that you lost everything today. Obviously, your family is still healthy and good. But aside from that, your success, your career, and you needed to start over, what are the 3 first things that you might do?
Well, let's put it this way. You never lose your connections, right? I've built the connections that I have with some of the top people in the world. So I hear they're having an event. Hey, listen, I would love to be on that event. How do I take part of it? Don't be shy to ask someone a question, like Les Brown, for instance. I ask him questions all the time. His daughter, I coach, But if you take all that away from me for me to start again, I still have the people I've actually invested into, and they invested into me. Guaranteed it would be back to normal in no time. I mean, a recession with the money right now with COVID, everybody's saying, oh, we don't have money. We don't have money. They're finding the money to hire me, though.
Yeah.
Figure that out.
No, absolutely. You make some great points. I mean, and some of it is fundamental. Yeah. But a lot of people still don't do the very basics. And one of the things I've learned, and that continue to amaze me, doesn't surprise me anymore, but it amazes me that a lot of my biggest success, or my success journey, has been primarily because of others. And people come out of the woodwork who you least expect, from countries and places that I wasn't even thinking of.
100%.
I wasn't even thinking of that reply and say, "Oh my goodness, your show." I had a gentleman who I started coaching 2 months ago, and he said to me, "Mr. Reid, I've been following you since 2018." I go, "What?"
That's back when you and I were on stage together.
Exactly. I had a gentleman who called me, and he goes, I'd like for you to coach me," and he was in Greece. And so you just don't know. And if you continue to work hard like you do and put things out there and serve others, I mean, I fully believe that if you help other people get what they want, you're going to eventually get what you want.
There's a simple rule. Eric Thomas was amazing when he taught me this. I hired him for 6 months coaching. He taught me a valuable lesson. He says, be the first to get up in the morning. Be the first to get that content out there. Give it to him for free. He says, it's like going to the grocery store. You go to the grocery store, we all go to the grocery store. They always have something out there to eat, and it's free. All you're doing is picking up that cheese and cracker, say, oh, that tastes good. Right over there is $4.99, right on that shelf. You're doing the exact same thing. If you're giving away things for free, you're entitling people to come to you, right? Yeah. So now if I'm giving all this for free, can you imagine what I'm going to give if you actually pay me? It's amazing.
Huge. So let's come back full circle. What advice, now that you've gone through this success journey, right? What advice would you give to your 20-year-old self now?
What advice would I give to my 20-year-old self? Stay to your true value. Don't become someone else. Become yourself. Learn who you are. And if you want to be an entrepreneur, remember one thing. There's a lot of hatred out there. There's a lot of good things out there. Find the happy medium and just run with it. Because you know what? There's people that want to be the stuff that I'm doing, and they got me on pedestals. Don't put me on a pedestal. I might fall with you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I said, here's the way I deal with this. 20 years old, you look at the situation where you want to be. Always look at the top where you want to be. What below that do you need to accomplish in order to be there? Yeah. Now look at below that. So it's like being say I wanted a PhD. What school and what credential, what prerequisites do I need to actually fit into that? Then I go downwards. Never go this way up because you're just chasing a dream.
Well, absolutely, because success is a step-by-step process, right?
Or always look at yourself 10 years in advance.
Yeah, because a lot of people who shoot to success and get to the top, they often fall because they really don't realize how they got there or who along the way helped them to get there, right? And the what is, the who actually along the way is just as important, if not more important than the what. Because, I'm doing this show 76, 77 episodes later. I'm scheduled all the way to 80 already with a guy that I think I introduced to you, or somehow shared a show with him, Todd Stottlemyre. So he's back. So he's back again in a couple of weeks. He's got a new book out, and we're going to be talking a lot about that and his success. So we both have a lot to be thankful for, being able to have access to people, world-renowned people such as Les Brown and Todd Stottlemyre, and many others, many others who helped me personally. Mr. Tom Hopkins, who is now retired, I can't believe the amount of time the man gave me, in person.
Believe it or not, putting yourself out there, you never know who's watching you.
Yeah.
I used to do Facebook Lives a lot. And let me just say this for a minute or two, because I want to express the fact of if you're given a problem and a solution to that problem, people need to hear that. That solution, you emphasize a little bit more structure on the foundation and everything for it. I've had people like Reid come to me. He's a 2-time heavyweight champion of the world. Hey, I love what you're doing. And I never knew who the guy was before. I saw him on TV. Yeah. I think I would ever talk to him. The guy did a forward for me afterwards.
Nice. Yeah.
You know?
Well, yeah, that's a big boxer. One who knocked out Mike Tyson.
Yeah, yeah. He
Well, I
told me,
mean, that's his
"Don't
claim
you
to
get
fame.
out of hand, mister."
Yeah, that's his claim. Yeah, if you can knock out Mike Tyson, I think you're doing okay in boxing,
Yeah,
even
yeah.
even if it's once. You know. So one of my last questions before we dive a little bit into your upcoming event. I know you're excited to share a little bit about that. And also, the
I'm
audience
just
would
excited
definitely
to
love
be here
to
no matter what.
say what?
I'm just excited to be here no matter
Oh
what.
no, it's good. I'm glad to talk to you because there's so much we always we have a lot in common. We also have a lot of opposites, and we have a lot to share. We're on a success journey, simultaneously, and we are happy to always reach out, whether we're doing something formal or informal, to see how each other is doing. So I do appreciate that about you for
Yeah,
sure.
we've seen each other's struggles.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Right. So why don't you share one last question is, I know you've read and studied 52 top super achievers in the world. You and I are among several of them who we now, consult with or coach with or who guide us along the way. What are some of the best books, or if you were to refer a book or two or three to the audience on success, what would those books be that have impacted your?
Best way to say this is not to be biased. I mean, I love my books. Get Magnetic Entrepreneur. There's like 75 of them out there. So yeah, but not to be biased. Check this out. You want to know what you're dealing with in your own life. Okay. What inspires you? So is it Tony Robbins? Does his words inspire you? Does it Les Brown? Is it Jim Rohn? I mean, what inspires you? Something's going to inspire you. I would say, you know what? If they're successful, there's a reason why they're successful. Grab one of their books that inspire you, because it's wrong for me to say one book, because everybody's individually different.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to look at the situation. You got to mind map it. Okay, what is they doing that I'm actually attracted to? So grab that book that you obviously know they're successful in, and find out what ticks them, what makes them tick. Yep. That's what I did when I did 52 of the top achievers. I took a piece of each of them to make the person I am today.
Absolutely. And there are so many great books out there. I'm just finished my 37th book on Audible. Okay. I listened to them folks.
I knew who it would be.
Okay. I'm not reading 37 books. I'm a slow reader.
Driving your Lexus.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a slow reader at best. And I mean, reading my own book and proofreading it 5 times was painful enough. So
yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the editor keep telling me to go back and redo and rewrite. I'm like, oh my God. But anyways,
it took me 12 times for my very first book.
Yeah.
Now, my very, 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 very first book was There's More to Life by Robert J. Moore. I used my last name as a sentence there. It was the shittiest book I've ever wrote in my life.
But look at where you are today, though, right?
Yeah,
Listen,
I had to do that though to learn.
But you know, one of the things that it inspires me every day, but it also leaves me in total awe, is when the first episode of this show, I had no clue. The first few episodes of this show, okay, and like if I told people that the start of this show was me grabbing one of my counterparts, a young gentleman I mentored, like literally half my age, I could be his son. And I said, Matt, let's go do this show, this podcast thing, because they're telling me I need to get out there and do something. And I said, okay, you're a younger guy. I'm the seasoned guy in the automotive space. Let's talk about the automotive space and the evolution of the automotive space, and what it looks like from your perspective being in your 20s, and what it looks like from my perspective having been in it over 20 years. That episode is still the number one listened episode on the show.
Amazing.
Right? Every day, all over the world, people are clicking on listening to that episode. So I give credit to Matt, okay, because he's the, he's the one that dresses like a model and look like a typical hockey player. So I say, yeah, it's all credit to you, Matt. But starting was the big deal. We started that show, and from literally asking and seeking to find people to ask them to come on the show, now it's a complete reverse, where they're in my inbox is filled
with my books,
with requests to be on the show, right? But you have to start, and I picked up a lot from Robert here. You definitely have to, get your mindset and your perspective clear, and you have to start. Starting is a big part of our success plan. If we don't start, and yes, you can expect the failures along the way. You can expect the downtimes.
Growth.
Right. Yeah, failure is a part of the growth process, folks. Failure is a part of success. And I actually did a talk. I do my annual talks at Humber College and Georgian College, and in my sales mindset course, and I talk about failure being a part of success, because what it teaches you are the things that you need to learn more of. And
look at the situation. Did you know sales before you started, right? I mean, you had to learn sales.
Exactly.
And now you're one of the top people in Lexus for sales. You're actually teaching them how to do it.
I teach people all across Canada and all across the United States.
It's like me. I mean, look at the books. When I started the entrepreneur book, I was actually giving discounts and begging people, look, your story's really good. It was like being a con artist or something. Like, hey, I think you'd be really good in this book. Well, I can't really afford it. Okay, we'll give you half off. You know what I mean? It was it was crazy.
Lizzie, do you know Lizzie?
Yeah, she was. I was on her podcast not long ago. She has a radio station.
Yeah, well, Lizzie is watching, and she goes, "Same here. My first show was so horrible, I wanted to delete it."
I can imagine because her and I talk quite a bit about things, and
Lizzie, but now she's a star, right?
Yeah, she's rocking it now.
Yeah. So Marlene Padgen. No, please forgive me. I'm holding the phone up here because I forgot my glasses. So she said, Robert is so amazing.
Help you.
Yeah. So hello, Lizzie. Thank you. Hello, Marlene. Simone. Thank you. Sean Howard. Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys being on and commenting. Yes. See, they love you, Robert. So you've got some big stuff coming up. Let's share with the audience here this big news that I see keep promoted on my Facebook screen, on my feed.
Well, you look at Turning Point 2020.
Yes.
It's one of the biggest health conferences that's changing the world, and they're going to leave a legacy. There's 50 of the top professionals in the world that are speaking on it. It's being hosted and organized by Brian Gangle, which he is given also credit to the World Organization of Natural Medicine, because they're working hand in hand as sponsors in that. So, I mean, we got some serious people in there. I mean, we got Dr. Joe Vitale on there. We got T. Colin Campbell. We got Dr. Wolf. We got the Clements, the Ballingers. I mean, these are top people. Well, I was actually hired to actually do the book for them. So 25 of those top people have chosen to actually be in the book. And I was actually honored to be able to be in the book with them and write a chapter in there and be the publisher for it.
Nice.
So, I mean, you guys want to talk about challenges. I mean, the thing is, when you do a book, it sounds easy after doing 75 of them. It's not as easy as you think, because one little thing that's put in a book can offset the whole book itself. And that's what happened with this book. It was like,
and you were telling me a little story just before we started. So I know all it takes is one little thing to derail the whole project. Oh, we had to go through it again.
It's already at the printers right now, the book. And I'm going to be honest with you. One individual wants out of the book for their personal reasons. I'm not going to say why, but it's their personal reasons. And I'm going to honor that. I'm going to honor that, because you know why? I mean, no matter if it takes me another 18 hours to put this together, it'll be ready for tomorrow and be uploaded and ready to go at the printers again. So that's part of a challenge. I mean, I just got to look at it and laugh at it. And I've only had 2-3 hours sleep, and I got to do another 18 hours of work.
Yeah. Well, I feel you, my friend, and I certainly respect what you're doing. No one can take away the success that you've had, and because you've been grinding. I see it every day, and every night if I go on, I see you there pop up on my feed. So I know you're there grinding, and I certainly appreciate everything that you've done. And I really have to say congratulations on your success and sharing your success journey. So how can the audience get a hold of you, Robert? Like,
Oh, hey, you can go on LinkedIn and go Magnetic Entrepreneur. You go on Facebook, Magnetic Entrepreneur. You can go on YouTube and do Magnetic Entrepreneur or Robert J. Moore, per se, my own space. If you Googled any of those names, you can't miss me.
oh, you definitely can't miss you. You have lots of people here commenting in the feed. So thank you. It's Marianne, Lizzie, Jacques, Vincent.
Yeah.
And I think there is Simone.
Jack Vincent just had a very successful launch of his very first event.
Oh, someone said, Robert, you need to sleep.
Of course. I mean, I get lots of sleep after the weekend.
And Sean Howard. Yeah. I need to do that too. But I got in a little bit of rest last night because I thought it was important just to take the extra day that we got from not working elsewhere to catch up and spend some time at home. But I really appreciate this show. So what are your 3 takeaways, Robert? What would you want to say? Okay, I've been through this, the ups and downs of the success journey. I'm enjoying some success now. Here's what I've learned, and here's what I would ultimately want to leave the audience with today.
Well, first thing first, like I mentioned, get to know who you are, who you want to become. That's number 1 in the world. I mean, you need to either it's meditating. Me, I sleep when I do, fortunately. Spend time with yourself, get to know yourself, mind map the situation. See if what you're doing is really helpful to you or is it really hurting you? So if you're looking at number 2, you might want to learn to tell your story. Telling your story is one way of doing things. I mean, I've learned that, you know what, it doesn't matter if it's a book, doesn't matter if you want to be speaking or not, but if you learn to tell your story, and especially if you want to be an entrepreneur, that leads right into something, right? So that leads into the fact that you could be on stages or you could be in books or you could just tell your story to another person and help them engage with you, So now you got a third thing. Don't be afraid to leap into success. The success is what you make of it, not what I call success, not what Everold calls success, not what the neighbor calls success. Everybody has an opinion. Let them have their own opinion. Like Les Brown says, don't let somebody else's opinion become your reality, right? Let's be honest with yourself. Where do you want to be? If picking up this thing here and putting batteries in it is success, well, then that's success to you. Not to me. Mine is goal achieving. I love seeing the goals being achieved.
Yes.
And I love seeing other people happy. So I enhance other people's lives, and that's what I do.
Absolutely. So, and I leave a couple tips of my own as far as, how to basically harness your success plan. And one of the things that I've learned along the way is if you put something out there, like you've been doing and like I've been doing, and you start to get some recognition or people start to respond, I think it's good. It's just very human to reach out and say, you know what, thank you. I appreciate the feedback, because you never know who that person is.
You never know.
You never know who that person is. And some of my biggest supporters, and I'll tell this right now, and this will never change to this date in my life. The biggest supporters in business have been total strangers. People who have my family will know me and friends will know you for one reason, right? And you'll have a lot of family and friends who don't encourage you to work as much as you do, and won't encourage.
I hear a lot.
right? Yeah. They simply won't. But you have to know within yourself that what your, like you say, what your purpose is, what you're working for, what makes you tick.
Find your why.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know that you're driven for greater things. And when people from different countries, different nationalities who barely speak English reach out and send me comments or emails or call, it's a sign that, okay, I'm touching someone's life literally across the ocean. Why not? Right?
Hey, I've sat here 3:00 in the morning coaching a guy that's 1:00 in the afternoon in Australia. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So anyways, we put in our dues, we do our work, we do the work. Okay. Don't be afraid. You got to do the work. Success, it's not just going to come to you.
Fail forward, not backwards.
Yeah. You got to do the work. You got to invest in yourself. We've talked a lot about that. Personal development is a big part of my success sales mindset principles course and talk. Personal development. You got to invest in yourself. Know what you like, whether you like to read books, listen books. Okay, you have to consume some sort of content, podcasts. There's no YouTube videos. There's no excuse for you, for anyone not to learn. Okay, so I want to just recap and say a big thanks to Robert. Folks, this has been episode 76, which we meant to do a while ago, but due to technical issues, we couldn't do it. But we did an impromptu show here, and we're getting lots of folks on live here on Facebook. Your friends, because you obviously got quite a few followers here, commenting, and I want to thank them all for commenting on the show. We've been talking about the journey towards ultimate success with Robert J. Moore, and he's a 5-time international best-selling author. Right? He's authored over 75 books, or co-authored at least over 75 books. His most powerful book, The Better Way Formula, Principles for Success, okay, is available on Amazon and anywhere books are sold. And now I'm sounding like an infomercial.
Just can't go in the physical store and get it right now.
Yeah, and exactly. And and Robert, again, is available on Facebook. He's always there, LinkedIn, and your website, right?
I don't have a website. I don't do business cards or websites.
Got you.
So I find them a thing of the past.
So
Facebook Magnetic Entrepreneur.
Yes.
YouTube Magnetic Entrepreneur. Robert J. Moore on Facebook, or Lincoln Magnetic Entrepreneur Inc.
And when is that big event coming up again?
It's coming up this Saturday. All
right.
Sunday I'm speaking. I'm speaking myself. Reading a book is a comfort food.
Nice. Well, folks, there we go. So we always love hearing from you. So all you folks who are watching now on Facebook Live, subscribe to the Reid Method Insider Podcast. You can find it on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever your favorite podcast app is. There's so many now. And so you can find us there, and you'll find this edited version of the show on those platforms. But please go ahead and subscribe to the Reid Method Insider Podcast. We love your feedback. We love hearing from you, because we have such great guests like Mr. Robert J. Moore here. We've had Les Brown multiple times, who he's also connected with. Tom Hopkins, Todd Stottlemyre, who you've also been connected with. And folks, Todd is coming back. I think it's Monday the 26th, 7:30 p.m. Yeah, Monday, October 26th, 7:30 Eastern. We're going to be talking about Becoming the Observer. And it's a part of his new book. I think that's the title for his new book, Becoming the Observer. And that's Todd Stottlemyre, 3-time World Series champion, 2-time back-to-back World Series champion of the Toronto Blue Jays. And I think the third one was with the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yeah, his dad was a legend too.
Yeah, and his dad, I mean, he's got a massive story. If he just talked about his dad, that's a whole episode. Right, yeah. Mel Stottlemyre, whom I think he just recently passed away a couple of years ago. So there you go, folks. This has been episode 76 of the Reid Method Insider Podcast, where I had my special guest here, Robert J. Moore, talking about the journey towards ultimate success. And we look forward to seeing you on another episode soon. Good day, folks, and happy Thanksgiving, Canada.